Yes.
Welcome to the George Janko Show.
No, welcome to the Foundry podcast. Today, we're going to be kind of doing a little bit of an interview with Shawn and making a video about why this podcast was founded and a little bit of his backstory to kind of give like insight into, what we're talking about and credibility behind that and just, our lives as well and the testimonies that Jesus has given us to share.
Do you think
Shawn?
you're going to rock your legs the entire time? Because that might look funny on camera.
I could stop, yeah. Yeah, but
Hey, you got to tell him that.
Is it looking funny?
Man.
Well, he turned the thing away from me. I can't see it anymore. But no, you got it.
That or I could do it too, and we'll look like we're on a boat. Welcome to our boat.
Yeah.
Just doing Florida guy stuff.
Yeah.
So who are you?
My name is Ashton. I work for Shawn editing the videos and soon going to be doing the YouTube videos for Eden's Garage. I realize you guys can't see the sign back there. But I've just been blessed with a really cool opportunity to come here today. And this has been a pretty recent job. And it's been on my heart to actually know and ask Shawn some questions. And so I would love to ask you these questions personally, and then also just have like a framework of what's going on, with your podcast.
I like that you left out the part where we already filmed all of this and Reagan took off with the footage.
Yeah, we hit some roadblocks. And
No,
so I as an editor broke and was like, we're gonna refilm this. We're gonna do it all by ourselves. And kind of took initiative on that so we could get this rolling, and so that I wasn't just a paperweight sitting around doing nothing with no footage.
So Ashton needs the Who the Heck is Shawn video, so we have to reshoot the Who the Heck is Shawn. But
Yes.
the thought process was he's always asking me a bunch of questions. A lot of the young fellas that work here are. So I said, then let's do it. But make them your questions. What do you actually want to know?
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to go through the whole who was I growing up in the typical, unless if those are your real questions that Ashton really cares about. But
Yeah.
I'd say just start firing away, man.
Yeah, well, I definitely want to get kind of a little overview of your life and what brought you here, because I think it's going to be important for some of the questions I have. So I would love a quick overview of pretty much just when you started making your own decisions, 15, 16.
Start making what?
Your own decisions.
Okay.
Like 15, 16, when you actually kind of started functioning as a human being, and just hearing your little summary testimony of what that looks like.
Yeah, that's going pretty far back. So that'd be 30 years ago. I was a typical 80s, 90s kid. So I dreamed of simply owning any vehicle. It's not like today where kids get this awesome car or truck given to them from their parents. I had dreams of having anything. So my grandpa sold me his little 1979 pickup truck for $250 that had trailer lights mounted to the back of the bed because its lights didn't work anymore. And half of the bed was missing because it was rusted off. And he still charged me $250 for it because that's what grandpas did back then.
Yeah.
Nobody got anything for free in the 80s
you gotta learn.
and 90s. Yep. You learn to fight for yourself, and every scrap you get is one that you went after. And so grew up that way. I probably had 30 vehicles by the time I was 25 years old, but none of them were over $200 or $2,000. I mean, they were all beaters with a heater, and I always did my own thing. So I was spray painting them, putting wheels on them. I always liked to stand out with the little bit that I had and not just like conform or be like everybody else. And I would have been into Jordans and shoes, but I also didn't want to work. So I had to take whatever mom would get me. And I think my mom would give us $200 at the beginning of every school, $200 or $300, and take us to J.C. Penney or whatever, the Kohl's, whatever the store was. And we could buy whatever we wanted, but when the money was out, the money was out. So pretty much jeans and a T-shirt and whatever the cheap shoes were, because I did not want to work. I knew as a kid that I'd rather just mess around, hang out with friends. I played baseball I played football for 7th, 8th, and freshman year, and then I was 5'1", 100 pounds, so the smallest kid out of 180 students in my grade. The second smallest person, I believe, technically was a midget, and she was the only person shorter than me. We called them midgets back then, but now little people, I believe. But yeah, I was just a little dude. So the coach said, pound for pound, you're one of the best players we got. You just don't know how many pounds. So I think they were nervous about me getting hurt, so played me less and less as the kids kept getting bigger and I wasn't. Bottom line, I didn't go through puberty till like junior year. So finally, I went and lived with my dad up in northern Wisconsin, did a lot of hunting, drove my beat-up Toyota pickup truck around bird hunting and stuff, and that's when I sprouted. I gained like 35 pounds. My stepmom's a meat and potatoes cooker, and she would cook the best meals, and I blew up. And that's probably about when I also started realizing that girls were a thing and got my first girlfriend and did all of that stuff. But I mean, back then it was very normal. I was just they called it middle class, but now it would not be middle class. I mean, we had almost nothing. All of the vehicles in my whole family on all sides were beaters with a heater. And I think that in the 90s, that's just how it was. Like, that's how life was. It was simpler, but it also was a lot. Everybody had less. So I grew up that way pretty much the whole time. Simple. Just simple life.
Yeah.
Not much.
And then how did you get into your businesses?
Well, my grandpa, I was sitting with him in junior year when I was going to high school up there. And I don't know, I think I was at his house watching him drink coffee one morning or something before I went to school. And he says, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I have no idea." He said, "Well, what do you like?" I said, "I like math." He goes, "You should be an electrical engineer because they make a lot of money. And electric cars is probably going to be a thing someday." And I said, "Okay, then I'm going to be an electrical engineer." That was the entire conversation. And so I went to school to be an electrical engineer. So I applied down to UW Platteville in engineering school and got accepted. My mom and I stopped and I bought a computer on the way to college. We literally stopped at a Best Buy halfway when we realized I probably am going to need a computer. And she put it on her credit card. And I said, I'll try to find a way to pay you back for it. And that's how life was. It was that simple. I mean, I just became an electrical engineer for 2 weeks. Then I realized that I liked math until they started talking about imaginary numbers and stuff. So quit that program immediately, joined a fraternity, got into industrial management. Camera guy just kicked over the entire table. Are we still live?
Yeah.
I love when camera guy's an active participant.
Yeah.
So I went down there to be an engineer, but realized that I didn't like that much math. And then industrial management is kind of like management business school.
Yeah.
It's a blend. So I ended up at General Motors for my internship. Worked in a factory there, supervising 125 robots and 20 human beings. And that was in Wisconsin. And then once I graduated, I got a job at Oshkosh Corporation building military trucks. Very similar automotive, UAW, United Auto Workers workforce. So it was management versus union, and I lived that life for a while. Never liked the politics of it, so I knew I wanted to do something different. So then I went to a hospital and helped out in open heart surgery, trying to reduce medical errors, infection issues, create standard work, because I had gotten into lean manufacturing, lean process improvement, and they were using that at this hospital. So they brought me up as a manufacturing guy to try to apply those standards in Six Sigma and all that stuff to healthcare. And super successful. We had a lot of really big wins, awesome time, met some amazing people, but still knew I did not want to sit in 11 hours of corporate meetings for the rest of my life. My last job there was running a hospital. So I ran a hospital. I had 600 nurses reporting to me, about 11 managers, and it was, I think, a 145-bed hospital. And I had no idea how I ended up there. I was just building cars at GM a few years before that, and all of a sudden I'm running a hospital. So I kept saying I have to get out of here.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't belong in the corporate world, but one day I sent a message to my buddy, and I said we should start this online chiropractic booking thing, and 3 of my buddies joined me. We built it. We had fun with it. We lost all $40,000. We invested in it over 2 years, but we learned a ton about starting your own business, about going out and pitching people and making sure you listen to what the need is before you create the solution, because we created the solution without really understanding that whether they wanted it. So we were trying to jam a need down their throat, basically. So then the next one I worked on was something I really had passion about, which was I knew that fitting wheels and tires to a vehicle is really difficult. With my 30 vehicles, I almost always bought junkyard wheels and tires and put them on these vehicles. And you can't just buy any wheels and throw them on any vehicle. So I was learning the hard way that it's really complicated. So I hit up my buddy who had done the chiropractic booking thing with me. He's a programmer, Ben. And I said, what if we built this gallery where people can share them, blah, blah, blah. So it was this big, grandiose thing. And sold that business for $50 million, and here I am. Any questions?
Well, yeah, no, I have a lot of questions. So you now being in the place that you are, what are some things, what are some old habits that you had to break now in the business world specifically as a Christian?
Like right now, the biggest battle I'm fighting is I have such a strong urge to just start another empire, because we at one point had 1,000 employees across 6 or 7 states. And we had built all of that from my garage with a couple stickers and T-shirts. So my brain keeps saying, I don't need the money, but I should build another empire, because it was super fun. However, to do that, I worked 100 hours a week. And so you want to keep going back to that pattern. However, my wife doesn't want me to work 100 hours a week. I'm sure if you asked my son, he'd vote against me working 100 hours a week. So now it's trying to get in through my thick skull that making more money won't improve my life at all.
Yeah.
The point we're at right now, we don't need money, so there's no point to build another empire based on financial. However, that's what I know how to do, and that's where I get my endorphins from.
Yeah.
And my adrenaline comes, my heart starts beating when I think about business and the complication, but also that's where my stress comes from. So I think for me, breaking the habit of I have to build Shawn's next big thing. If I had $1 for every time somebody says, you know what business you should start, Shawn? I would be a rich man. My boy Vic told me 5 businesses today that I should start, including one 3 minutes before this podcast.
Yeah.
And my response to him was, you should start that business.
Yeah.
And I will be here cheering for you, and you can stop in any time for moral support. But Shawn's not going to build any business. I built this shirt business, and I got over it by the time it got set up, I had more fun buying the racks and helping the homeless kid that we pulled in and hired for 2 weeks build it than I've had owning the company or wanting to promote it. So I'm finding that I would rather put a business together than own one.
So do you like working then?
Yeah.
So it's more about
it's busy. You just want to be busy.
Yeah.
But then when you're busy with that, then you're completely distracted from being a Jesus guy, because when you're busy, especially stressful busy, the last thing you're thinking about is how can I make it so when people look at me, they're like, there's a happy, wealthy, peaceful, joyful Jesus guy.
Yeah.
Because I used to say to my friends way before I had any money, I'd say, I just want to meet, because I wanted to be a millionaire really, really bad. Like ever since I saw Lamborghini in grade school, I wanted to be a millionaire. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I really, really wanted to make that happen. But I always said to my friends, I'd say, but can you show me a joyful, peaceful, wealthy person? Because I would love to ask them, how do you do that? I see a bunch of angry, stressed out, overworked, don't know their families or their kids, wealthy people.
Yeah.
And I know a bunch of broke people that are stressed out, work nonstop, don't know their kids.
Yeah.
But I wanted to figure out what how do you find peace and joy? And so I've been reading the Bible for 86 straight weeks. I saw this morning. Wow. And I had already read the entire Bible in 2020. So this is my second time reading through the Bible. And I don't think I'm any closer. I think I know a lot more about God, but I still don't understand what the point of life is.
Have you read Ecclesiastes?
Yeah, about 3 times.
So,
it's all vapor.
It's all vapor, but it also says in Ecclesiastes, and this is one of the things that I absolutely love, is it says a man's work is his portion. And so it's a slightly different portion than God being our portion. It's a different meaning, but I think there's something so sweet about, and I'm obviously not anywhere close to what.
What does that mean to you, though?
I'll explain, and I'm not anywhere close to where you're at, but I straight out of high school was making 6 figures, just straight out of high school doing sales, working maybe 30 hours a week, getting all these benefits, like doing all these things, have a nice car, and I was not stewarding it very well. And I would spend a lot of days just in my room, like scrolling on my phone. And I still made all the money just because I was good at sales and I could do all of the things in like the short amount of time. Whereas now there are days that I come in here at 9:00 and I work from 9 to 9 pretty much. Sometimes like 9 to 10. And I would go, because I would leave here and I would go over to Bass Pro and I would work. And so I came from doing the sales, making 6 figures, to now, between the 2 things that I'm currently doing right now, maybe making like $500 a week.
That's all from Bass Pro, because I don't even pay.
Not yet. No, but not even considering Bass Pro anymore. I put my 2 weeks in at Bass Pro because it was just starting to get weird. But I'm working a lot more. And I'm earning a lot less, and I'm enjoying it more.
Yeah.
And I think it's the actual, like, when you look at the rocks crying out and worshiping the Lord, like, how do the rocks cry out and worship? They don't have a mouth, but how they cry out and worship is by being made exactly the way that God made them. Mm-hmm. And so just the fact that they're made the way they're made is like worship to the Lord, right? Like when you make your custom wheels, that's actually kind of putting a good name to you for the sake of it's a good creation, and the fact that it's created good kind of points back to you. At least those who know that you created it. And so us as also being creators, when we create good things, it points back to us and our creative ability. So in the same way, the rocks do that. So
I would agree with you if those wheels were a necessity wheel, but all I did was create bling bling wheels so that kids could finance them at 30% and put themselves in a terrible financial position at the beginning of their lives.
Yeah.
So that's where it's kind of like, what work is truly something God would be proud of versus what is just busy work or just selling stuff that people don't need. And I would get hung up on that. And up until, I would say, 2 weeks ago, I was still hung up on that. And then we had a conversation in one of my men's groups, and we said, you know what? I don't think God cares what it is you're making, what it is you're selling, what it is you're doing. Within reason, don't sell drugs. Drugs are bad.
Yeah.
What God cares about is, who do people see while you're doing it? I don't care if you're selling roofs and gutters, or selling custom wheels, or making a podcast video that 100 people might watch.
Yeah.
If the whole time you're doing it, you're smiling and you're at peace, and when somebody walks in this door and needs a little advice, and you're kicking Bible at them and helping them understand what Jesus wants them to do in that situation, or they just watch you work and say, man, I want to be like Ashton. That dude's just got peace and joy and a love for the Lord. And that's it. I really, really, really believe that's all he wants. I don't think he wants us to save the world. I don't think he wants us to feed every hungry child. I think we put that on ourselves.
Yeah.
Do I think that if you live a life wanting to, radiate I'm a Jesus guy, that you will give $20 to the homeless guy that truly is hungry walking past you? Yeah. Because it's hard to walk past once you have that heart. But I just think that I currently believe we all put too much on ourselves to change the world. I don't think God needs us to change, but he's got that.
Yeah. No, and that's exactly what I would say to you is by, we think that, and I like to compare almost work to worship in a sense, because when you look at it, there's a lot of the same parameters. Whereas I could look at worship and say, well, I'm not worshiping good enough if I'm not tearing my clothes and shouting and worshiping. And I love the Lord so much that I want to do that sometimes. But in Romans 12:1, it says, live your life as a sacrifice, like fully laid down unto the Lord. This is your true and proper worship. So that's actually where it describes worship. Same with work. You can go out and do all of these things, but you can do them in vain. Whereas if you're just focused on doing them well unto the Lord, everything else follows.
What does that mean, though? So the struggle I have with good, solid, lifer Jesus people, they say stuff like that sounds really biblically strong. That sounds biblical, yeah. But it doesn't mean squat to the average person. And so that's what I want to use this podcast for, and that's what I want my personal brand to become, is I will stop somebody quoting scripture and say, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
We have to stop saying Jesus died for your sins, because most people don't know what that means.
Yeah.
They have no idea what that means. Or you must repent. What does that mean?
Yeah.
So same thing with what you just said. Sometimes that comes across as, then I better start a church. I need to be a preacher, because those words were so heavy and so King Jamesy that I feel like I'm being called to do way more than just be peaceful, joyful Jesus guy.
Yeah.
And I don't think I am being called, and I don't think you're being called to be more than that. I think it's all this Babylon, keep up with the Joneses. Everybody needs a supercar and a supermodel wife in a super mansion. Otherwise, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah, I think.
And that's a long, lonely life. And you see people achieve it all, and they're still so lonely and so broken.
Yeah. So to your point then, exactly what I would describe that in I guess, layman's terms, would be, we have a clear description of the fruit of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So those are all, I want to say simple words, not simple actions, but they're simple words. And we see before Jesus was even like preaching, he was a carpenter. Mm-hmm. And like in your head, do you think his carpentry sucked? Like, do you think the joints looked bad? Do you think it was like rough? Do you think people got splinters? Do you think like per what he was doing, do you think it was bad? Because we have this, I feel like.
I don't think God cares.
I think here's your debate.
Yeah.
I would disagree with you to the ability of the person.
Right.
Meaning, if you have the ability to make it good, it should be good.
But what if you're a redneck carpenter? Is God looking at you going, oh man, that's just not that good? Like, I have a lot of Bahamian friends that are Bahamian carpenters.
Yeah.
They are a carefree, relaxed people. Their carpentry doesn't look like the stuff that you would go pick up at Pier 1 Imports, where it's refined, perfect coffee table. It's a 2x4 coffee table.
Yeah.
I think God loves their work just as much as he loves that Pier 1 Imports that came straight off an assembly line. Because if that person was talking to God the whole time they were making that 2x4 table, and they were living a peaceful, joyful. Everybody wants to be a Bahamian. Have you been to Bahamas?
Yeah.
Everybody goes there and says, I just want to live here.
Yeah.
I just want to sit with that guy all afternoon. Look at that man smile.
Yeah.
They got the biggest smiles. And it's not because their work is Jesus grade quality woodwork.
Yeah.
It's because of their spirit. It's because of their heart. It's because of their attitude and the big smile and the peace and joy they carry.
Yeah. I think I think it's less, and maybe this is the way I worded it, but I think it's less about outcome and more about the pursuit. Because to your point, I think it would be hypocritical to be talking to the Lord the entire time while you're doing something lackluster. Because what that is that's the Lord gave you a gift and you're kind of just saying, oh, willy-nilly. And that's different than putting your all into something and it not being perfect. But it's the same as like salvation. So salvation is by grace, the grace of God, the free gift that we can't amount to, but it's shown by works, right? If I truly believe that Jesus is God, that he has my best interest in heart, that he died for me, that he actually gave his spirit so that it can be renewed inside of me, where my spirit, his spirit are now one, and I can actually act according to his spirit rather than be in handcuffs attached to my sin, I'm going to act a certain way. And that's not to say my actions are what the Lord loves, but it's a reflection of what I know with the Lord and what's been given to me. And the same thing, that's how I view my work, right? I already understand that I can't earn more love from him, that I can't earn more closeness to him, that I can't be more saved than I am right now. So when I go do my work, it's not to try to earn anything from the Lord. It's not to try to earn his gaze, but it's me just saying thank you. It's just saying, you gave me a gift that I love. Like, I'm going to use it. Like, how would you feel if you gave someone a gift and they never used it?
So I'll give you a couple of points because in Old Testament, Leviticus and everything, almost everything the Levites got involved with, God was super specific. How many thread count, what color of thread, what size the poles were. Everything was specific. However, I can't recall a single time Jesus ever told somebody or taught the apostles to do a thing and said, and do it perfectly and do it to the best of your absolute ability. I don't think the New Testament, the New Covenant, is as hung up on what you do here on earth with your hands and feet as you do with your heart and your soul.
Yeah.
And I would even leave the mind out of that because I just don't think God's trying to see who's smart enough and using their math skills to their best potential. Like, I don't think Elon Musk is getting more points by sending rockets to space than you're getting by walking around talking about the Lord and just being a person that when people see Ashton's face, they're like, I know that dude's going to be smiling. Like, when I see you come in here, I know you're going to be smiling. I don't think, man, is it going to be good Ashton or bad Ashton today? Like, am I getting the angry, crabby Ashton this morning, or is dude going to come and smile? I know you're going to be smiling. I know Josh is smiling. I know John is smiling. Like, I believe that's what God cares about. And I don't think he wants me to say, hey, Ashton, first thing out of my mouth, did you get that podcast perfectly edited? Because I really think God needs you to put out a perfect podcast.
Yeah.
I think he wants me to say, hey, Ashton, how's your heart this morning?
Yeah.
You hanging in there? Everything good? Yeah. Jesus was such a heart guy and such a, how do you feel and how is your soul? One of my pastors once said his favorite question to his kids were, how's your heart?
How's your heart, yeah.
And so many parents don't ask that, including me. Instead, I ask, how are your grades?
Yeah.
How is your ACT? How are you doing on studying for? Because I want his work to be the best work. And I'm focused on his works instead of his heart. And it's because that's what's beat into me. Because I'm an American, and Americans are always trying to do better, faster, more, bigger.
So I have a question. I think maybe best, the word best in the connotation that I was using it as differently than you're using it. And I would have a question. You're saying that you have a testament to me walking in with a smile. So what happens when I walk in and I don't have a smile and I sit down at my desk and I slam my mouse? And your thought might be, what's wrong with your heart? Mm-hmm. but you can't see my heart. You don't know my heart. All you see is my actions. And so that's simply what I was saying is for an outward appearance, like our actions are just the view into our heart. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't be different. They usually aren't different. Some people can be fake, but then in being fake, that is a view into your heart that you're being fake. But that's simply the point I was making about the work, is that not the best on a scale of hierarchy, but it's the sake of, if I am like just in love with Jesus and I know Jesus and I'm starting to understand the truth of the gifts that he's given me, we see it in human, and this is just the human tendency is to respond. And all we are able to tell from a response in someone is not their heart, but is their actions. And we see their heart through their actions. They're supposed to be one. And that's why it's saying the actions don't matter, because when your heart is there, your actions follow.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you think God is prouder of me, a multimillionaire that put everything into working hard, or the homeless guy right here at Racetrack that has put almost no effort into anything ever? But I will walk past all those homeless people, and that guy, if he gets $20 today, will give $2 to the 10 people standing there each, so they each can have a candy bar, which I've seen it happen. There was a homeless kid that was hanging out here a couple weeks. Anytime I gave him money for work he did, he went and gave it away that day to the other homeless people over here at Racetrack. And he was a kid that knew the Lord. He was a kid that talked to the Lord. He never ate a meal without a heartfelt conversation with God before he ate. And he changed my perspective on everything, because I don't think God cares what he's doing with his hands. He cares what he's doing with his heart and soul.
Yeah.
Now, the kid drank every night, and I told him that, that's not, you're playing both sides of this.
Yeah.
You still have a lot of conversation to have with God.
There is still fruit, whether it's full fruit, it's fruit. I don't like the word.
And we all have our butt, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Ashton is great at this, but
100%.
There's also this part.
But I've been lazy. Like that's been my thing recently is just being lazy sometimes. And I don't think, back to your question, I don't specifically like the word proud in a biblical sense. I think proud is almost transactional and it earns something. And as I said about grace, we can't really earn more grace. We can't earn more of like love from God. I think, and I don't have words for it.
We'll use the Old Testament words then. Does God think I'm doing right in his eyes?
Righteousness.
More so than the homeless person?
No.
Right.
No. But
it'd only be based on my heart and soul works.
Yes.
And it's not even based on that. Well, it is, because he talked a lot in the Old Testament about your salvation has nothing to do with it, but your rewards when you get to heaven are absolutely based on your works.
Yeah.
So
and there's I don't think there's really a dichotomy. I don't think there's one or the other. I think, first of all, there's salvation, and that's given, that's like accepted. But then at the same time, we have righteousness. And I think there is righteousness that we can work towards to attain. And that is found by just having relationship with the Lord and knowing him and mirroring him. Yep. But I think part of it somewhere, and maybe it's really far down the road, part of it somewhere does show up in your work. And I don't think when I say that, your work doesn't support anything. Your work would be a byproduct. It doesn't support his love for you. It doesn't support his looks upon you. It doesn't support your righteousness. It's merely just a byproduct. That's all actions are. Actions are just like a byproduct. So I believe...
Here's the good news. I'll totally agree with you also.
Yeah.
Because if you watch somebody that has wealth, their work could be where they're putting their money.
Yeah.
So if somebody has, $1 million a year to spread around, is the million going into more houses and more cars and more luxury items and trips for them? Or is a percentage of that going to the hungry, the poor, building God's kingdom, the church? Are they tithing?
Yeah.
Are they helping people around them? Or is it just selfishly being dumped into their own ego? Because that would be the same as your work. If you are a God-fearing man, you wouldn't spend every nickel on yourself. You just wouldn't.
Yeah.
You can't read the Bible and be comfortable blowing through every blessing God has given you.
Yes, and
which is the same as your work
is
skills.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not making it seem like there's a distinction between work, like where you're getting paid for,
The homeless guy
and the
handing
action that you take.
Yeah, the homeless guy
His money.
splitting up the $20
That's
is his work for the day.
That's
Yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
and that's all it is the things that you do with your body, period.
Yep.
And that's also when my buddy comes and asks me to pray for him. Am I gonna pray for him and start, snapping and slapping him and being distracting while I'm
Or
like
go tell everybody
praying for him,
what
or
he
go
just told
tell
you.
everyone with
Yeah.
my mouth,
Yeah.
right? And so that wouldn't reflect anything good in my heart. And whether and we still have the opportunity, still have the ability to act outside of salvation. Like it's not actions that earn us or gain us salvation, but I still have the ability to sin. Even though sin doesn't have a hold on me, I have the free will to go punch Josh in the face.
Salvation is whether you're going to heaven or not, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Sorry. Salvation is your eternal, like living with Jesus. Heaven is whether you're going to heaven or
Getting
not.
a room in the house or not.
Yeah.
Are you in the book or not in the book?
Yeah. And so, but that's all simply I was asking is because just my view is like, I am just so in love with Jesus that I want to do just everything for him. Not because I think it earns me anything, but that's just because you want to do things for people. Like with your wife, if you want to, wash the dishes or clean the house before she gets home or do something for her,
wash the dishes.
you never want to.
I'll pick up the house.
You never want to pick up the house.
Yeah.
It's that sense of love is not always from a place of like, your reward when she gets home is going to be her smile. It's going to be her happy. It's not like, oh, well, hopefully by the time tomorrow when I get my car, it'll be full of gas. You're not plotting out. Like that's not love.
Yeah.
That would be works
What will I
based.
get back? Yeah.
But it's just like, oh my gosh, I love her so much. Like I want to see her happy. I want to do something for her. It doesn't actually earn me any more of her love because I know she loves me fully, but it's just for her. Mm-hmm. And that's just another form of worship that I found to the Lord is just doing things well. And well isn't a hierarchy, like statistic based thing that I hold myself straight up against, but it's like, could I be doing it better with how I'm working? Could I be doing it better?
Yeah.
Like if I have the ability to do something good, why don't I do it good? Instead of why don't I do it lazy? And that doesn't mean I'm in the back of my head being like, oh, stupid, you messed up the placement of the screw by half an inch. It's just like, this looks beautiful. Yeah. I want something beautiful to give to him because he deserves it. He deserves so much more.
There's this Zachary kid that I watch on YouTube sometimes, and he'll go around and pretend that he's homeless or pretend that somebody stole his shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Just to see people that
and then
will
he
help
gives
him
them
out, and then he'll give him $5,000, $10,000, or whatever.
I've seen that.
My favorite part, and the reason I get hooked on watching those, is when he says, "Why did you help me?"
Yeah.
And people say, there's so many people that will say, because Jesus needs me to help you, because Jesus it's so immediate for them. And I'm always like, I need to be one of those people. I have got to get to a point where instead of looking at that homeless person and saying, why don't you get a job if you're hungry? Why don't you, instead of judging, say, Jesus wants me to just hand this to you with no judgment, no expectation. And I don't expect you now to go be better or to not go buy alcohol with it. I have no expectation. Here it is, because Jesus wants me to give that to you. And I can't get there, and I think it's because I'm just not along that journey. I'm not to where that, where those folks were or are on that video you see all the time.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when something good happens to you. Is your first response to say, thank you, Lord, I just can't believe, or is your response, man, I did a really good job. I got promoted because I just really worked hard today.
What do you think is necessary for you to get there?
Closing the gap, spending more time with the Lord, spending more time with people that are already close to the Lord. You have to close the gap, because I've noticed that the minute, let's say I go on vacation with a bunch of drinking buddies, or go up to deer camp and spend 10 days and never talk about the Lord, never read my Bible for 10 days, don't go to church for those 10 days, you can feel the gap between you and that person just tremendously. It's almost instantaneous how fast you forget about the Lord when you separate yourself from him. So by closing that gap, and that's why I read the Bible before, with my breakfast every single morning, because I'm doing everything I can to close that gap so that I can stay in that mindset, stay close to God, be talking to God. And then I find out I end up talking to him a lot more throughout the day because I've started my day off that way.
And because again, it's like your relationship with him.
Yep.
It's like, so is your goal then to be like the Jesus person or to be like Jesus?
My goal is simply to know him and him know me. I don't think I have a vision anymore for what that looks like. I just know when I see it that they got it figured out. But I don't want to just mimic their behaviors.
Yeah.
So I look like a Jesus person.
Yeah.
I want to know Jesus. I want to I want to believe so much I can't be convinced otherwise. And I'm not there right now. Like yesterday I spent the day thinking, how can millions of Jewish people who grew up with the Lord as the chosen people not believe Jesus was the Messiah? But I do, some kid over in America that just heard about it on the internet and read a book. But they don't, and they've lived this life, their entire ancestry, all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah.
David is in their bloodline, and they don't believe Jesus was the Messiah. But I'm supposed to believe that without question and without doubt, because I read the Bible 5 years ago, and the Holy Spirit got inside of me. But now the Holy Spirit's in there at war with my own mind, with Satan, with the reality of the world. I can't stand in front of my family and tell them I believe 100% of the Bible, because I don't understand so much of it. And I don't believe things I don't understand.
Yeah.
Because that's complete blind faith, and I'm not a blind faith guy. I was given too much brain to just go in blind.
Yeah.
But that's also why I don't get tricked too badly. I always say anybody can trick me, but they'll only get me once. Because I learn who to not trust. But that's what makes it a whole journey. However, if you just don't go on the journey, or if you just quit the journey, you're definitely never going to get there.
Yeah.
So I'm staying on the path. I don't believe God talks to me, but I do believe that God confirms and reaffirms and supports thoughts that I have that are in my head. And so I was asking God a bunch a year ago, what do you want from me? And I thought he wanted me to start a Jesus clothing line. I convinced myself of it. But I never got backup from him. I never felt affirmation. The one thing I do feel affirmation all the time from God is to keep showing up. I just keep having those words in my head. Keep showing up to the men's groups. Keep showing up to church. Keep showing up here to the Foundry and hanging out with you kids that are always talking about the Lord. Keep being here for people that walk in the door that don't know nothing about the Lord, and be ready to share with them. So I believe that if I keep showing up, I'll get there. And I right now wouldn't try to sit and convince. If you were a non-believer, I would not sit here and try to convince you should believe everything in the Bible. I would try to convince you to show up, because I believe if you keep showing up, you'll at least be able to make that decision for yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't show up, you'll never be able to make that decision because you don't know anything. I'd also tell you, read the Bible.
Yeah.
The fact somebody can say I'm a non-believer, but I won't read the one book that tells everything about what
You're not
I could believe.
Not an atheist. You're
Yeah. You're not an atheist. You just don't know anything.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Which was me for 40 years. For 40 years, I said, well, I don't know if I believe this and that. My men's group that I was in for like 5 years said, if you won't read the Bible, you're done. No more questions, no more arguments, because you haven't even read the book. You can't not read the book and then have the argument. At least read the book and then have the argument.
Yeah. No, and that's, and I honestly, as a Christian, I really appreciate people like that. I will appreciate someone that has read the book and still has questions.
Yeah.
And still can't commit.
Yeah.
Because for me personally, and this is what I tell people, same thing with you. This is what I tell people, like, I grew up in the church. I had the Bible. I knew all of this stuff. I never had doubt that there was God, but I never really knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And what it took for me was like actually an encounter.
Yeah.
Was actually the same way kind of Charlie was talking about it, was feeling peace from the Lord in the worst moments of my life, where I just came down from a high and I had way infinitely less peace. And now I'm at my low and I have peace from having confirmation from the people around me, from all of these things. And it was personal. And so that's what I tell people. I'm like, I truly believe that what Jesus has done, like, he'll do again. So if he made himself known to me, I believe he'll make himself known to that person.
Yep.
And I had access to a Bible for so long that I knew, and that didn't like do it for me. And so, but then obviously once I started asking questions, I started reading the Bible and wanting to learn, and I wasn't, shutting it out.
Yep.
As you're saying people do, and that's just annoying. But yeah, no, to your point, it's like experience, it's personal. And all it is just continuing to press.
And just to be clear,
in.
I'm all in. I believe it all.
Yeah.
I just won't sit and argue with somebody that doesn't, because I've got a ways to go before I'm comfortable trying to get you to believe it all.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I'm ready to, if I go on trial, I believe it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be your attorney while you're on trial and trying to feed you notes.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I can get you there.
Yeah.
And I also believe you got to get yourself there. I really believe that. But I will try to convince you that you better show up for court, because you ain't going to win if you don't show up.
Yeah.
And that's where I think I have something to offer now, is being still in that baby Christian new part of being a believer, is that I think I have a great opportunity just to convince people to show up. Last podcast, you saw it more than anybody.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't know if you remember this part, but you remember it. You watched it 7 times.
I don't know if I remember watching it over and over and over again.
But when Jason basically said at the end, you have basically said all the things that church people have always said to me. So as usual, they have not done anything for it. They have not resonated with me. And I believe that I bring a different perspective than you, who grew up in the church and always had this, faith back. Because I went to CCD, they called it something, catechism, something. And I was confirmed as a Catholic kid when I was a kid. And I went to youth groups, and I went to church 8 times a year. I didn't know what anybody was talking about ever. I have no idea.
Yeah.
For 40 years, they'd say, Jesus died for your sins. I'd say, no, he didn't. I wasn't even born yet. That guy's been dead for a long time. Like, I took it all literal, and I didn't know why they kept saying that. And they said, you got to follow Jesus. I was like, I would. If he walks by, I will absolutely pick up my fishnet and follow him. But dude ain't walked by my house. That's literally what I told my friend at my first ever Bible study that he had at my house.
Yeah.
And I still have that, I still know what it's like to be them, the lost or the non-believers. So I think that's what I can bring to that conversation.
Yeah. And I hope, it doesn't sound like it, but I hope you're not discouraged by not having all of the knowledge, because I think, as I said in Romans 12:1,
I'm so comfortable with how little I know.
That is your testimony is your biggest evangelism tool.
Yeah.
Like, literally, you just living your life, being able to share your personal experience, and like, because people aren't gonna sit down and read all of the little ins and outs of the text and be like, that. But they might see you and be like, oh my gosh, that's what it's been talking about. Like, this is joy. I don't even know what this is. I haven't even read the Bible yet. I don't even know what this is, but I want it. Yeah. And then that opens the door to just say like, hey, I was there. All I know is Jesus. And it's also a blessing too, because you're not saying, oh, well, I have a doctorate's degree in theology and Christology and I know, and that's why I'm here. But it's like, no, I just know Jesus, and Jesus just knows me, and we just know each other every day more.
I have a master's in engineering, and I know nothing about it.
Well, there you go. This is even more to my point. Like, the fact that you don't have all of the infinite knowledge is proof that it's not you and it's not what you're doing. Yeah. Based on what we were saying earlier, it's not your works. It's just the grace of Jesus, and that in itself is the most powerful testimony. Is just you being you. It's just chilling. You know.
I love that you went and put on the same shirt as me.
I didn't even mean to. I realized it like when we were starting. And you know what the horrible thing is? I was looking for the black. I couldn't find any in my size with the little arm tag.
There aren't any.
And then I found the blue
your boy
had
John took them all to his church or something. I don't know what he was babbling about.
I found
he stole all the black t-shirts.
The blue has it, and I grabbed one that didn't even have it. I grabbed one that had the one down here. So I just completely like missed the whole point. Yeah. We're back.
He'd have forgot.
Yeah. So that all being said, like, I forgot my question.
Am I happy now that I know the Lord and I'm
you
rich?
Happy?
Absolutely not. I'm tormented every day of my life. You think I'm kidding?
Huh?
Do you think I'm kidding?
Oh, I didn't know. No, explain that.
I just think that's how this life is. I don't think there's a such thing as happiness. I believe there's happy moments. I don't think anybody gets to just be happy. And I don't think there's anybody in the Bible.
Is that contrary to joy? So joy is separate. That's in the spirit. And happiness is purely circumstantial. Because that's how I've always been.
I don't think you can be joyful 100% of the time either. I think you would have to be super fake and phony. If you're joyful at a funeral of one of your parents, that's weird. I think you can be at peace if they knew the Lord and you know that they're going to heaven. But if you're joyful at a suicide funeral of a non-believer, you might want to get your head checked.
Yeah. No, but
you can be at peace if you know that they've struggled for 20 years and at least they're at rest, but you're still going to be sad.
Yeah.
So I think even joy can be a dangerous one to chase. I think peace is worth chasing, but you're still going to have tormented moments even when you're at peace. I mean, Jesus standing in the garden saying, "Is there any other way, Father?" That's not a peaceful, joyful question.
No.
So even Jesus didn't live a peaceful, joyful 100% of the time life. I just think people believe that since I sold my company and now I don't have to work and I'm retired at 45 years old, I was 45, now I'm 47. At 47 years old, that I must be living the dream. And my favorite comment when people say, "How you doing?" I say, "Living a dream."
I don't know who people is. I wouldn't assume that.
Whenever I tell somebody, no, I'm still pretty miserable, because I'm still tormented by wanting to start another big old company. I'm still tormented by not having 500 people relying on me. And I had 500 people relying on me for 25 years of my life.
Yeah.
Because I ran an airport fire truck factory, and then I had a dream last night. I actually was back working there. When I just said that, the dream came back to me that I was back working in the factory. And then I ran the hospital, and then we had 1,000 employees. Like, there's a lot of pride and a lot of self-worth that comes with 500 people relying on you to make good decisions. Do you know how many people rely on me right now to make a good decision? Probably zero. I don't think I'll make a single decision today that will impact anybody's lives.
Maybe me.
Seriously.
Maybe
just how showing up for the podcast
easy
might
the
have
podcast is to edit, but
my
life isn't contingent on that.
A little peace and joy for 1 hour of your life today. But my point is, there's a lot of people trying to... Somebody said to me today, "I want to be you when I grow up." And my response back was, "Me too. I want to be the me you think I am when I grow up, because I'm not. Money doesn't make you any happier. I have more crap to worry about because I have like 5 houses. Something breaks every day. We had a gas leak at our Airbnb and thought the people were going to blow up the other day. And my wife is dealing with all of it, and it's complete chaos. Then they sent us a bill for $800 because they fixed our pool heater that we don't even use anymore. It's the backup pool heater, the old one. And they spent $800 on parts on a heater that's disconnected. And they didn't want to hear it from us, and we just had to pay them. And it's just that was today that we found out the $800. So you still will deal with nonstop life stuff. No matter how much money you have, you will still deal with the country and the fact we're at war again, no matter how much money you have, and there's nothing you can do about it. You will still have a bunch of stocks that are plummeting because we're at war again.
Yeah.
There is no out of life.
No, it says in Romans there's the pains of childbirth and groaning and mourning and weeping until the end of the earth. But I think the reason people and I'm sure you're finding this even more, the reason people can have joy and peace often is because in that verse it says in hopes of the coming Messiah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, like we're going.
So that being said, to tag on to what you're saying, am I 95% more at peace than ever in my life? Absolutely. But it's not from money. It's not from success.
Yeah.
It's from reading that book in 2020 and knowing that none of this even matters. That I'm just here to put my best effort forward to be a Jesus-loving, peaceful,
image
joyful
bearer.
as much as I can version of Jesus.
Yeah.
That's my only job. Now, do I remember that? Absolutely not. Forget every single day. Try to start a company almost every Tuesday. Can't remember it. Get frustrated. Wonder why I ever sold my company and how many people I could be hanging out with today and impacting their lives like at least once a week. Like, you still live in these constant cycles. And I was talking to one of my friends that doesn't know the Lord at all, but he's super successful. Got the jet on order, going to be here any minute, got a dozen supercars. He hates his life, hates everything about every day, and just hopes it ends shortly. And I said, bro, I feel the same way some days. And I have no excuse for it. I am completely spoon-fed now. And I used to make fun of the spoon-fed kids and the trust fund kids back in high school because I had nothing. And they were the kids I picked on. I'm the kid that I used to pick on. And I still could complain with the best of them. I don't, because I'm not going to sit here and complain to you about how hard my life is. You're just starting life. You have so much to deal with and so many hurdles to go over still. At least I'm 47 years in. Like, how old are you? 22?
19.
19. Holy
yeah.
You're the same age as the homeless kid. I guess nothing. I was going to say, at least you're a little ahead of him. You're not completely homeless. Sorry, Josh. If you watch
I can't take any credit for that. I live with my parents.
Yeah, so you are homeless.
Pretty much.
But my point is, at least I don't have to go through the 30 years that I already got through that you still have coming. You know, I'm grateful for that I got to survive those years, that I have those as memories, and I don't have to redo it all. But at the same time, sometimes I look at it and go, man, I'm running out of time. Like, I probably got one good 20-year run, and then I'm about at the age of the typical white male dies, and they're like 75 or something. So there's two sides to look at that, but my point is you're never going to get there. So if you're just saying, well, once my house is paid off, or once this, or once that, that's not going to be any better that day. It's just not. It's just going to be different. And life is just about appreciating what you do have today, talking to Jesus, and finding peace and hope in that. The fact that this will end, and it's going to be so awesome when this ends. Yeah. But you don't need to make a rush of it either.
Yeah, I guess that would bring me back to my question then, finally, is what do you hope is conveyed and understood by the podcast in general? And it sounds like a lot of that. It sounds like when I'm asking you, what would you share with me? You feel very passionately about sharing that.
Yeah, I would hope wherever you currently are right now, you would find peace and as much joy as you can get out of it.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, what does it take for me to make $50 million?
Yeah.
What does it take for me to build a company like yours? Because a lot of people, I got my buddy Kevin, he runs an awesome company called Get Bit Outdoors. And if you need fishing rod parts, you're just talking about fishing rods are broken, somebody,
Yeah.
he'll sell you all the fishing rod parts in the world. But he says to me, about once a month, he'll text or call me and say, I need to grow this business faster. And I'm like, no, you shouldn't. You're spending so much time with your boys, and you're spending so much time with your wife, and you're getting to do these gator hunts. He also guides gator hunts.
Wow.
And he's awesome at it, and he's an absolute blast. That's how I met him. I went on a hunt with him. It was just absolutely amazing. I still hunt every single year with him because I'm totally addicted now.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
Yeah,
because I
you
get to
have to
spend
be, you have
time
to
with
be.
him. Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
a blast. He's just an awesome, Jesus-loving, God-fearing dude.
Yeah.
And I tell him all the time, you know, I'll give you tips and tricks and stuff because I have the time to give advice. But don't grow your business just to grow your business. Don't do it just because everybody says you should. Only grow it as big as you want it to be that you want to manage. Because he has that mentality of, what if I'm holding back my company? No. No. What if you get so involved in your company that's growing 100% year over year that you can't spend time with your kids?
your family.
That's the what if that
Now
you should
you're
be
holding back
worried
the
about.
family
Yeah.
instead of this business that
People always say they can't find work-life balance. Just do. Like, when you need more family time, spend more time with your family. And if your job doesn't allow that, then find a different job. There's a lot of jobs.
I think that's where faith comes in.
Yeah.
Because that's what has been for me is like, that's what I've been learning is just do. If I need to like spend time doing this, do this. If I need to spend time doing that, do that. Like, invest into the areas of my life, like spending time with my family and spending time with my friends and investing in learning about, you know, the things of the Lord
Yep.
to where, you know, I've had peace.
Yep.
And I want to preface, like, me as a 19-year-old, I want to look at you. This is my fleshly desire, and I want to look at you and I want to say, well, you have the money. Of course you can say that.
Yeah.
But I also hope to provide like the context of, I'm someone who's actually, all of the stuff you're saying is all of the stuff I'm doing. And that's only by the grace of the Lord. I'm not trying to draw any attention. All I'm saying is like, yeah, like you're literally giving such good.
Britney Spears has all that money too, and look how her life is going.
Yeah,
Tiger Woods has all that money too. Look how his life is
exactly.
going. Money doesn't fix anything.
No.
A lot of times it'll actually magnify your problem.
It makes it harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I learned that because I knew what I needed to do, and I didn't want to do it because I was going to be making less money.
Yep.
I was living a certain type of lifestyle, and I was like, I don't want to, I'm only 18. Imagine what I can do in 4 or 5 years down the road.
Yep.
When they're not paying me less because I'm 18, and now I'd be making the same amount as them, and I'd be making $150,000, $200,000 a year, being single, living by myself with 15 regular hours of the week to work still left over.
Yep.
And it's like, you know, so it does make it harder.
Yeah. Luckily for me, I still wear $7 T-shirts, and I still fly. I do get exit row for the extra leg room, but I still fly Allegiant because they're the absolute cheapest. It's like $300 for a seat.
Okay.
I intentionally will not live outside of my means so that I don't ever get addicted to the money or the lifestyle. Because I know that at any moment I could just sell the houses that I don't need and be right back to, and my life would be no different. I would still drive here and hang out with you guys because it doesn't, if you live a life that requires you to make X amount of dollars, you're now a slave to that paycheck or to that life.
Yeah.
And once you get used to that, now it's really hard to just go back to peace. And a lot of people that are fighting for every nickel to keep up with their own lifestyle, they do not have peace. Britney Spears ain't got no peace. No. Or Tiger Woods has no peace. Like all of these people that are in the news, I don't know if you saw, there was a lieutenant governor of, I don't know, some town, just shot his wife and killed her and then shot himself. That man had plenty going for him. He was a top candidate for governor coming up for the upcoming race, is what I think I heard this morning. And it didn't matter. He was tormented. He didn't have peace. And that's why it doesn't have anything to do with what you do. It has to do with where your heart is and where you're putting your faith and all of your energy. And that's why I feel so bad for people that aren't showing up and aren't getting closer to God, because you're just going to get further into the little mousetrap you're building for yourself.
Yeah. So it sounds like to me, you're giving all of this information that's really good, solid information, and there's so much to explore, and there's so much that you experience that you have personal anecdotes to give, and you wanted to start the podcast to be able to further deeply dive into that, to not just say exactly what you're saying now because that takes 20 seconds or whatever, but actually dive into that and show people experiences and get into the little topics and really just show people what you found because you love it.
And it's even bigger than that. I want to bring a different guest on every week so they can teach me what they found, because I don't think I have it figured out. I honestly believe I'm as lost as I've ever been, other than the fact I at least have the hope and the focus of Jesus and his life and how he did things, in knowing that that's something to strive for and somebody that's got my back. I got a new best friend. However, it doesn't mean I wake up any less tormented about who am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to spend my day today? Should I just go talk to homeless people today and tell them Jesus loves them? Which is one of the things that constantly goes through my head, and there's no way I'd have the guts to go do it. But I know a guy who was on the last podcast, Charlie, who does it all the time.
Yeah.
And I know I should go with him someday and spend a day in Charlie's shoes, because I know I would learn a lot. So my goal is to keep bringing people on the podcast that will not only teach other people, but also a lot of what I'm saying I'm not doing. But I believe if I keep saying it, it's see one, do one, teach one. Have you ever heard that? The best way to learn is to have somebody show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And then you do it yourself, and then you teach somebody else how to do it. When you go to teach somebody else is when you really, truly learn something, because you have to then perform to the point where they can learn.
That's the gospel. That's
Yep. And that's a podcast.
the same thing with the gospel.
Me.
Yeah.
Half of what I'm saying, I don't have locked in. But if I keep saying it and keep teaching it, I can't keep doing the opposite of it, because then I'm the hypocrite. And we're all hypocrites. So I'm not saying that as, I think I'm special. I think a lot of us know what we should be doing. And all my men's group guys would be like, here's what the Bible says, and I know this is what I need to do. I'm doing the exact opposite. I believe Paul said it in Romans. Lord, why do I not do the things I know I should do, but I keep doing the things I shouldn't do? And it's just a cycle. Like, I'm so glad he said stuff like that, because it gives us credit. It gives us permission to just be human and keep failing, but you got to keep getting back up on your feet and keep trying again.
Yeah.
Because you will get it.
Yeah.
And you can't beat yourself up.
Or else why would you get back up?
Yep.
And so, yeah. No, exactly.
So, yeah, I think it's more so to bring guests on here to learn from them and to put our thoughts together, like the debate we had on the high-quality furniture today. I've never thought about that concept in that depth. And I think we argued ourselves into agreement. By the time we got done, we both agreed we're saying the same thing in a different way.
Yeah.
And that's what is fun to me, because I believe the whole Bible can be discussed and look like you have two different contradicting point of view, and you'll end in the same place.
Come together, because it's because ultimately, in the end of the day, a lot of it is just the minutia. It's just the little details that
I say all the time. Jesus said, "Love God with all your heart and love each other as you love yourself."
Yeah,
that's it. The rest of the Bible, you can convince me anything you want. I'm fine with you believing it, but you better at least believe those two things, or we're just not on the same page.
And I think everything follows from that.
Yeah, everything
Truly.
does.
Yeah.
And that's why he brought it down to just those two.
Yeah. All right. Last topic.
This ought to be
top
good.
7 on, I believe, top 7. It might even be higher on IMDb, top 100 all-time movies ever. One of the worst movies I've ever seen.
$5 says I've never heard of it.
Pulp Fiction?
I tried to watch it once and had no idea what was happening and ended up not ever finishing it. So I would agree with you that I've never actually watched Pulp Fiction.
My dad has
But I
been...
recently rewatched Fight Club, and I feel the same way about it.
Oh, really? Oh, because I loved Fight Club.
I was
thought
really
Fight Club was-
tired, and I might have fallen asleep a couple times, and then it got really confusing.
Well, yeah.
Because I thought I loved it, and when I rewatched it, I was confused.
Where's this Tyler guy? Like at the end of the movie, where's the Tyler guy? I fell asleep. I missed it. Where'd he go? And then
Hey, we're not allowed to talk about Fight Club, though.
talk about
Peace.
what? What are we not supposed to talk about?
Fight Club.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
You got me. You got me.